Meet Pamela Carbonero, a seasoned Latina director, producer, writer, and first AD. She has directed 15-plus short films, a 90-minute vertical series, and a 12-episode miniseries. Before she ever called action, though, Pam was working behind the scenes, starting with internships and quickly climbing her way to first AD. Pam is also the founder-owner of the LA Directors Lab, a place that gives directors the opportunities to actually practice the craft of directing. In this episode, Pam covers if being a commanding first AD actually works,
good first AD does not yell,
how to turn a creative idea into a business,
and start it the smallest possible way,
and how to survive in this industry without burning out.
How do I deal with the hardship? How do I deal with the rejection?
Thank you for being here. It's a delight.
Thank you for having me.
We had the privilege of working together almost a year ago now.
Almost a year ago. That's crazy.
I know, don't trip on that. We have a very fun, me cute story where we actually had met 3 times and I didn't remember.
She didn't remember.
And by the time we finally met in my mind, I was like, yeah, but you're like, bitch, I've been meeting you since 2009. So we go way back to early days of our LA journey and like hitting the pavement, the grind. And so it was kind of cool to then get to finally work with you so many years later. But let's take it back to the beginning a little bit. Early days, what brings you to LA? How do you discover that you want to be in this industry? What was the thing that kind of got you in initially?
I actually grew up always wanting to be an actress. And so I always wanted to be in front of people and performing. And so I was in theater all the way, starting like elementary school, middle school, high school. And then I actually moved out to LA to be a theater undergrad.
Wow.
And in my theater undergrad, we had to take we had the opportunity to take a production class. And so I took this production class. And I remember on day 1, I was, the producer and some other kid was the director and, everybody else had all these other positions. And at the time I was like, producing's so boring. I don't want to be a producer.
No one does, really.
No one does. And here we are. And so I was just there doing it. I didn't really have any interest because I was like, I'm not in front of the camera. And then the next day, I was the director role. Somebody else was the producer. And so everybody's roles just got switched over. But the producer came up to me and was like, hey, what do you want to do, with this? And I was like, I don't know. You're the producer. What do you want to do? And the professor stopped us and was like, no, you're the director. What do you want to do? And I was like, hold the phone. This is what a director does? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I get to make the decisions. And so that's how it started. And so I literally went home that night. I shit you not. I had the biggest epiphany ever. And in that moment, I realized I was meant to be a director. It's been 15 years now, 15 plus, that I've been directing, now producing, now doing all the other things.
Yeah.
But that was my initial start.
Yeah. So when you have that epiphany, what are the steps you take in the next couple of years to get on that path? Because no one's handing out opportunities for people to direct, certainly not young women in this town. So how do you go about creating that?
Great question. As everybody knows that's done anything in this industry, there's no one right path. I initially went into internships afterwards. I actually interned at Tyrese Gibson's company right after college. And then after that, it was like, cool. The thing at the time was make a short film that could be, produced into a feature and let that be your calling card and get into a bunch of film festivals. So I ventured out to make my first short film. And I had already made a few short films from then. And I also got into my first PA job was on a feature. And it was really, really cool. And I connected with the producer at the time. And so she took me under her wing. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I immediately learned what a first AD did. And I was like, okay, cool. I really like that job. I think I'd be really good at it. 2010 that I did those 2 features with the producers as like a PA. Then starting in 2011, I booked 5 features as a first AD, which was crazy. My first job ever as a first AD was a feature. I actually got in as a second and then they fired the first 3 days into the job. And then they were like, do you want the job? And I was like, sure. I've never first AD'd before. And they're like, but you know what the job is, right? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I totally know the job. And that's how that started. So first ADing allowed me to really understand how production worked.
Mm-hmm.
And when you learn how production works, it's really easy to put together a production. Personally, for me, it was.
Yeah.
And so then my first short film, I was able to get a bunch of friends together. We just did it for, a few bucks. And back then, $1 went a lot further. So, one of my really good friends from college, he DP'd and brought all his gear, and we just made stuff. And that's how I started cutting my teeth as a director and trying. I got really, really hungry to be able to take more classes or workshops or anything on directing that I could get my hands on. And there wasn't much out there besides just going to school and making your own stuff.
But at this point, before we get into the LA Directors Lab, having had all this experience now as a director and as an AD, how has that changed how you approach directing today from how you started?
Oh, man. That's a great question.
We have a lot of great questions here on the show. So
it's like you've done this before.
Yeah. So you can say that for every question because
it's so good. Like, you're so good at this. I think the biggest thing that's changed, really, it's been like the development as a director. And the development as a director is really understanding what is your voice, what is your vision, how do you clarify that so that your team and everybody that's working on your vision understand what it is that you're trying to do. And so over time, it's been more, who is Pam as a director? What is my voice? What's my signature? What is my thing? What stories do I gravitate to? What things interest me? What stories do I really want to tell and sink my teeth into? I think that is the journey of the director. And then understanding how to, maybe because I started off this way as an AD, so I already knew what all departments did and how they assist in creating my vision. But I think obviously knowing how to work with all of your department heads, knowing what position and how they operate within the entity that is your vision, I think that's really important. I was lucky to learn that very early on.
Yeah.
But not every director comes from production and working on set and crew. They come from writing, they come from producing. And so learning how the
mechanics, right?
Yeah,
the ecosystem.
The mechanics. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think more so anything, it was just the growth as a director for me of learning, just my voice. What does that look like?
And was choosing to first AD, obviously you have a passion and a talent for that. It is a very specific skill set. I wouldn't say that every director can first or should first AD or vice versa.
Correct.
But was that a way for you to essentially make money, get experience and be on set in a way that services you, but is also sharpening yourself as a director? Was that a deliberate decision on your path?
Yes, because coming into this industry initially as an actor, the mindset of, okay, if you're going to work in Hollywood, you either have to have some kind of job in Hollywood, which is really hard to get, or you work in the service industry. And so I was trying to get out. I was in the service industry and I wanted to get out so bad. I've come to learn that I absolutely love production. Yeah. I love being on set. I love working on set. I love working with people. And first ADing is just such a beautiful match with my personality and my skill sets that it was a natural thing. I just saw somebody do the position once, and I was like, that's what I want to do, which I don't imagine most people do when they see the first AD.
No, they're like, who is that person with the short lifespan?
Yeah, exactly.
But you were like, I want that.
I was like, yeah, that's
which
me.
Speaks to your how you love to lean into challenge and hard stuff, which we'll get into. But I guess I'm curious if did folks take you perhaps less seriously as a director because you had this first AD background, or was it more seamless than that?
Actually, in the beginning, after first ADing that year and doing 5 features, everybody started hitting me up only for ADing. But nobody categorized me as a director. And so I deliberately stopped first ADing, focused just on directing. And then at that time, I was balancing my other passion, which was fitness. And then when I came back, it was very much directing. And then I kind of fell back into first ADing. But this time around, I had a lot more understanding of marketing yourself, branding yourself, putting yourself out there in a way that you want people to see you. then from there, I felt a lot more confident being able to first AD while people knowing that I was a director. And it's been a game changer and a completely different go around this time.
What do you think makes an exceptional first AD?
Oh my goodness. An exceptional first AD handles a ton of stress really well, does not let their emotions get the best of them, is a people person, can communicate clearly with all departments, again, under immense amounts of stress without making enemies. A good first AD does not yell. A good first AD does not berate. And a good first AD is extremely understanding of everybody's circumstances in all departments and understanding that everyone is under a lot of pressure to get it right and is there to help and assist and be a team player. And the first AD, a good first AD, is also a wonderful liaison between logistics and production and getting the producers what they need, and the creative side, which is your director and DP. And on top of that is not the enemy of the DP. Me, the director, and the DP are always like the three best friends that we ever had. And when all of that comes together, we just have so much chemistry on set and we have so much fun. And the thing that we're making is just so enjoyable. And that's when I think everybody's like, this is why I got into this industry and this is why we're literally living our dreams, because this is so fun.
Yeah.
And I think I hope I can at least make some kind of impact and shift what the Hollywood narrative is of what an AD is or how sets should be run, with this idea of everyone's an asshole and, you know, get your job done and yell at people to get it done. I think that's the exact opposite of how people respond. I think it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to AD properly with the crew. I mean, you're a leader, and leading, anybody knows that any leader or boss does not get what they want by yelling at people, berating people, making people feel like shit. So my job and my goal as a first AD is to make everybody feel welcomed, heard, listened, loved, and cared for. Yeah. And then I get what I want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think some folks definitely use fear tactics to control and manipulate others. We've seen that. We've heard of that. Like, it used to be somewhat normalized. And I think we've entered a season where there's less tolerance for that. And you can blame cancel culture, social media, access to film, you know, people having to be a little bit more accountable for how they show up in their actions. But I think part of why I really enjoyed getting to be on set with you last year when we did this pilot presentation was that we both are very similar in our leadership styles and our collaborative styles. And you set the tone on set, especially from the top down. We definitely, I think, made that experience the best it could have been for everyone. And for me, like, the biggest compliment anyone can give me is saying, hey, that was like a really fun, safe set. You know, we got it done. We did it on time. Everybody got home safely. But like, coming here every day was just fun, you know, because that's what it should be. And I pride myself in that. And that's something I always look for creating for all my teams as you're building teams, because everyone is always like, well, I need a producer. How do I find a producer? And how do I find... Like, it is this alchemy of personalities that can be different for every project, but those key hires in the beginning, which really do start oftentimes with the producer, are so important because they are going to bring others under them that are going to help either continue setting that tone or being another sort of like pain in your butt, because now you have a little bit of like infections everywhere on your set of bad energy, bad vibes, people that don't really want to be there.
And it only takes one.
And it only takes one. Commend you on that. And one thing I've always said to you is, you know, you're such like a happy, positive person. And I wouldn't say that those are personality traits that traditionally go with most ADs. You know, I think most people who've been in the business, is not to say I haven't met my share of them, but I don't know where that comes from, if it's an older sort of style of leadership or of perception of power or being in control, where there is this sort of like commanding way of leading people that is effective. It is effective, but I don't know.
To a certain extent.
To an extent, right? But I've been on those sets. I've worked with a lot of those kinds of first ADs where it's like, yeah, they're great at their job, but like nobody really wants to be around them. You know what I mean? So I personally like that leadership style and that collaboration style. And to me, it's part of what makes it exceptional. And, you know, you said this to me, which was like sort of eye-opening, but obvious, that when a director steps on set, they're oftentimes the least experienced person because most crew folks have hundreds of days on them. They'll usually get like windows of time in which they can show up and do their craft, which takes me to the LA Directors Lab and how you conceived of this. Because when you first told me about it, I was like, yeah, this is brilliant. And you were already like a year or 2 years into it. And the way that it's grown already in these last few years is astronomical. And the fact that you're doing this while working full time, like, is mind blowing. So take us through a little bit of the history of LA Directors Lab and what you guys are up to now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Directors pretty much, and only directors understand the director's plight. Actors don't understand it, producers don't understand it, writers don't understand it. Only directors understand it because we're going through it, obviously. But directors, you have two options. You can either fundraise money for your short film, which could be a proof of concept, which everybody tells you to do. And then hopefully it goes into a feature and yada, yada, yada. Everyone knows how complicated and difficult that is and how long it takes. And then once you make it, you can't even guarantee what happens after that. And then the other option is that you get hired. How do you get hired? You have to have a reel. You have to have experience. You have to have connections, all those things. And none of that happens without people saying, well, what have you done?
Right.
And now we go back. It's like this circle.
Yeah.
And so if you think about how, let's just take the current financial climate. If you were to do a proper short film, you're looking at anywhere from 30 to 50,000 generally. That could be up, that could be down depending on what your project is. But let's just say on average $50,000 for your short film. That's a lot of money. How often is any one given filmmaker able to either spend $50,000 of their own money or raise $50,000 or find somebody that has $50,000? There is no ROI. That is a very rare and hard thing to do. And so if you do it, you're doing it maybe every 2, 3, 4 years,
right? If
you're lucky. And so if you ask any director, just go to them and say, when's the last time you directed something? The chances of them saying a year or more is very, very likely.
Right. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you're enjoying this episode, please subscribe wherever you get your audio-only podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit that like button, whichever version. And if you want to go even further and deeper, I hope you'll head on over to angleonproducers.com to subscribe to our Substack, where you can find way more offerings, community gatherings, mixers, events here in LA especially, and ways for us to connect deeper. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
I mean, I'm talking about the independent director, but also there's lots of professional directors that are also DGA that also are not directing as often as they'd like to. There are very few that are consistently directing. And unless you're consistently directing, how often are you really on set?
Right.
To get the on-set experience of the pecking order on set, the hierarchy, understanding how departments work, how they work with each other, how they work with you. There's language, on-set language that is very, very helpful for directors to know that inform the rest of the crew.
Right.
And that comes to me easily as a director because I do it as a first AD because I already clocked so many on-set hours. I work with so many green directors that are deer in headlights on set. When we're rolling and they're ready to go, I mean, the amount of times that it's been like, cut, because they don't know what else to say in that moment. And then they just make the tiniest little tweak. And then we have to reset, reslate. And now we've spent a little bit of time. And so then it's very much like, you can pause. We can still stay rolling. You can pause, say this thing that's going to take you 2 seconds and then keep going. Now, if you need to make it an actual adjustment, of course, cut.
Right.
But it's all to say, like, there's little things like that a director's not going to get used to doing unless they get on set.
To reps.
Exactly. Yeah. And so coming back into directing, I was like, man, I wish there was a place where I could practice the thing. Actors get to go to acting class. Writers get to go to writing class. Dancers go to dance class. Where do directors go to practice their craft? It didn't exist until now. So I created the LA Directors Lab, and the LA Directors Lab is basically a place for directors to practice their craft, find their voice, and understand what it feels like to be in the pressured hot seat on set with a time constraint and get it done and have a project turn around very quickly. In a nutshell, I basically set everything up for everybody in terms of like, I produce this whole workshop. It's 2 days. And in those 2 days, before the workshop starts, directors get to choose a script that's already written. I'll take the last workshop, for example. We just did the rom-com workshop. They had 10 options of 10 3-page scripts that they could choose from between rom-com and like, drama, heartbreak of, with couples. Then actors sign up to take the workshop based off all the actors that are in one specific 2-day workshop. I cast based off of the scripts that the directors wrote. And then from there, they just walk on to the workshop on day 1. They meet their team. They have a DP and they all prep, they rehearse. At the second half of day 1, we do a blocking rehearsal on set because many directors do not get to practice blocking rehearsal on the actual sets, and it's a very important piece of directing efficiently. Then on day 2, we have 6 groups, and every group has 1 hour and 15 minutes to direct their 3-page scene, get their coverage with their DP. We have a full small but mighty crew that helps us out. I first AD every single director and making sure we stay on top of our day. And I think we shoot 10 hours and get through 18 pages and everybody gets their stuff and we're in and out and we do not run over. And then directors have 7 days to turn around their edits. And there's so many pieces to that. One is don't stay stuck in post-production sitting on perfectionism. Just get your thing out there. The fast turnaround allows directors instant feedback to what they directed and what they shot into what they're seeing so that they can make those adjustments a lot faster. If you're watching something a year after you shot it, you don't remember the things you were remembering and feeling and thinking when you were shooting it on set. And then we screen everything because you and I could be directing in the workshop and we may have chosen the same script, but we're going to see 2 totally different versions of that script with 2 different actors, us as different directors, and then we both had different DPs. Mm-hmm. And that real world experience is transferring so much to now if there's a producer or somebody saying, hey, what kind of experience do you have? Do you think you can pull this off? Well, not only do I feel like I can pull it off, but you can see here in my reel what I'm able to do. And now these directors are able to build their reels way faster, including the actors, because we're able to now practice our craft on a pretty consistent basis.
And it's been 2 years, right? And in 2 years, I know you started really small. Initially, it was like, I think 6 directors, 8 actors, iPhones, no fancy gear. And now you're all the way into 2-day workshops. You do it pretty frequently. You have a cohort of people, like repeat folks that come back time and time again. So there's also this community that you've built where everyone is sort of growing and learning together. Mm-hmm. And it'll be so interesting to see in a couple of years the success stories that come out of that, right? And like the seeds that have been planted out of the directors' labs and how those folks go on to evolve in their careers. Like that's the most beautiful part of it.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. And I think the reason why this community specifically is so tight-knit is because we're all spending 2 days, 12-hour days on set with each other. And when you spend time on set with people, there's just a bond that gets created. But it's even cooler to be like, oh, there's 6 of us directors in this workshop together. I'm going to watch you direct. And then a little bit later, you're going to watch me direct. And we get to cheer each other on.
Yeah. And learn from that experience too, because how often do you also get to be on set watching another director direct unless you're...
Never.
Well, if you're specifically there to shadow for a rare opportunity, but generally that's not access that one has too.
Yeah. But shadowing is so different than, okay, you're going to go and then I'm going to go and then we can talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And somebody mentioned recently that this is filling a completely white space that doesn't exist. We do have plenty of directors and actors that take this workshop over and over and over again now, because as they keep getting better, I keep getting better with what I'm providing in these workshops. Mm-hmm. And one of the directors recently, he's taken, I think, 5 or 6 workshops at this point. We've done 7 total. And it has been the coolest fucking thing to see his growth as a director and a creative.
And the other part of that's also like, yes, the skill set, but the confidence, right? Mm-hmm. The confidence. And I think the value of for more of like people episodic leaning where you're a director, you're a guest in someone else's show and you're coming in and you're having to like learn a system very quickly because you're sort of thrown in. But the confidence element is really instrumental because I've worked with a lot of first-time feature directors, and that's often the biggest hurdle is like them not knowing what they want, them not knowing how to communicate that they're insured, they're not knowing how to talk to their department heads to be empowered, or worse, them saying they don't care, they don't have a vision. And then when the costume designer shows up with like all of the looks for the characters, he's like, well, I don't like any of that. It's like, well, you said you had no vision. So like, which one is it? Have a point of view or don't have a point of view.
Right.
And just seeing how that domino effect of like someone who doesn't have the confidence, who's being given this first time opportunity and doesn't know how to like really grab that by the horns. And I've seen a lot of folks like not be able to step as fully into their power as they would have if they were coming in with a little more experience. And
there's a lot of pressure on any director to nail it the first time. And you're asking somebody who has not clocked the hours to lead this big production and asking them to deliver perfection. And it's a lot of pressure for directors. And it's very easy to understand how a lot of them maybe miss out on further opportunities because they weren't ready. But how could they have gotten ready?
That's right. We just had Jamal Watson on recently, who was at Will Smith's company for many years. And then at Monkey Paw, one thing he said that kind of was really sat with me was that, everybody has the same goal. We all want the director to succeed. But if the director does not succeed, they're the ones generally that has to deal with the fallout of that. Like the producer, the writer, everybody else involved, they sort of get to move on, but the director is the one really holding the bag if it goes well or not, and it's really their career on the line. So you really want to give them sort of the best that they can to succeed. But I know you also sat on the idea for the LA Directors Lab for about 8 months. I guess I'm curious, like what finally gave you, was it just the timing, or did you feel like you needed some courage to get going? And then if there's someone right now listening who has like an idea for something they want to start or white space that they're identifying where they're like, this needs to exist, I want to do it. Like what advice would you give for someone?
Mama Bear is going to come out right now.
Yes, we like Mama Bear.
The idea came to me early, I think, in early like 2021. And at the time, I told somebody whose opinion I cared about a lot. I told them about this idea, and they said, well, maybe it doesn't exist for a reason. Essentially implying that it wouldn't work. And that one fucking sentence which anybody with a dream can understand, when somebody important whose opinion matters to you says some shit like that, it will squash your fucking soul. So when they said that, I was like, okay, yeah, it's such a stupid idea. Of course it doesn't exist for a reason. This industry's been around for, a million years. Like, of course it would have already existed if it was something that was viable. And so I shut that idea down and I put it in the back burner for about 8 months, and it never shut up. It was just always like, the director's lab. And I had, besides this person that I mentioned it to, I also told 2 other friends at the time. One of them who was very much into, she is an incredible like marketing guru. And I had told her this idea. And I remember at the time, she was actually my nutrition client because I had fitness and nutrition clients at the time. And she was like, girl, what's going on with this idea? I was like, it's a really big idea. I literally have no idea how to start it. I feel like I need, $1 million to start this thing. She was like, no, you don't. What's the smallest thing you can do to start it right now? Baby step, baby, 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 baby. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I could do like a 2-day workshop or something. She was like, perfect. What does that look like? And she walked me through. She just asked all the right questions and forced it out of me to where I was like, I guess I could do this. I guess I could try this. She was like, cool, do it. Done. We made such a scrappy initial workshop that has now turned into, I'm full on producing at standing set studios with a crew, with professional, gear and cameras, and and we're doing the damn thing. And we just recently screened at an actual theater, which is incredible.
It's amazing.
But the journey has been, it's been really, really, really cool to see. And this is for everyone out there that has an idea, right? I can't stress enough to just start it and start it the smallest possible way. The improvements will come. The improvements come through the experience. So if you have this idea, you're sitting on it, you're unsure how to do it, just the smallest, tiniest little step you can take to get going, like literally just do that. It's going to seem so easy and so simple and maybe even a little silly. But that's the only reason why I am where I am today with the LA Directors Lab, was because I took that little baby step.
That first step. I love it. You call yourself a proud anti-gatekeeper. Like, what does that mean to you? Why is this so important to you? How do you go about creating pathways for others?
There are too many of us creatives out there that know what we're doing and have so many wonderful things to share in terms of our voice, our creativity. And we are not getting opportunities simply because there's gatekeepers. Mm-hmm. And there's so much emphasis on, they don't have enough of what I'm looking for. And it's like, we create, you know what I mean? So to say that you're not sure if I can do the thing, I get that to a certain extent. And sure, if I was straight out of film school, of course, that's a whole different ballgame. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those of us that are experienced, that know exactly what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I think I could easily direct a $10 million film. I think I could easily direct a $50 million film. Now, $200 million, of course, that's a whole different thing. And I'm not going to just be like, yeah, I could do that. But I don't think I would be lost.
Right.
And I know that that's not probably encouraging too. But my point is that just because I haven't done a $10 million or a $50 million feature yet doesn't mean I wouldn't be able to rock the shit out of it.
Right.
I think learning the fine line of giving the person who knows what they're doing the chance and simply just saying, well, I don't know you. I don't know anyone that knows you. And so that's just like, it's just blocked.
So do you think that then mentorship really is more about networking and access in that way versus like giving space for people to learn the skill sets? Is that almost like saying you kind of should be doing that on your own, but then you get to a point where what you need the access, right, to the people that have the power that can hire you, that can give you the opportunity?
Access is one of them. I love networking, but networking only takes you so far.
Why?
Because when it comes to working on set and production, personalities really matter. Mm-hmm. and working well together. Two people that are supposed to be creatively married that don't get along with each other can completely ruin a project. And so you and I can vibe at a networking event and we're great, and all of a sudden we work together and we are clashing.
Right.
When it comes to mentorship and anti-gatekeeping, for me, it's more of whatever I learn and whatever's in my brain and whatever experiences that I can take away from to help me move forward, I will give that to you. And of course, everyone has to also learn and experience things on their own. Right. But there's lots of things where I wish somebody would have told me. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to share all of that.
Right.
Even when I'm running my LA Directors Lab workshops and I have experienced directors, these are not green or student directors. These are working professionals coming into these workshops. I currently have a DGA director taking these workshops consistently.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
It's one of those things where when I'm on set with them and they're directing, I'm very much there by their side, even as a mentor if they need me. I'm not here to teach directors how to direct. That's not what this is. They're there to learn however they can learn. But the point is that there's not a safe place for directors to be like, I'm not sure what to do here, without losing the trust of the entire crew and losing trust from everybody to say this person is not able to do this. And I'm there to be that safe space for them. But I do that in every sense of the word with anybody, because I didn't have mentorship coming into this industry, and I wish I did.
Really?
And
none? No one?
I had like my DP friend at the time that I was helping me a lot, understand a lot of things. But as a director, and I reached out, I tried with many people to get help, mentorship. Can you talk to me through this? And it was very much like no responding, ghosting.
Do you feel like that's changed now? Do you have mentors now?
I'm like, do I have? I don't have anybody specific in terms of a mentor. I guess
so. Is mentorship to you like a person? Is it just like a singular entity? Is it one human, or is it? I'm curious how you define mentorship.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think a lot of us think mentor is this person that mentors you. So in that case, no, I don't have anyone. But the cool thing is I've now created this incredible community where I have several people that I can lean on for things.
Yeah.
It's cool to be able to see that from folks who are doing it the way it should be. And yes, I'm doing it the way it should be done.
One thing I really admire about you is, again, having been on set with you, now being your friend, like you're always so energetic. You're always so positive. You've always got this like, let's fucking go, can-do attitude about everything. And it's exhausting, Pam. It's like, oh, this bitch, like, just, can you be depressed for a second, like all of us?
Sorry, I'm not sorry.
But no, like even on set, you know, like I've seen, again, some grumpy guys and all of this sometimes negative or down energy that can come at you, and you can still be up here day after day and without drugs, I think. So
no drugs.
I guess I'm just curious, like, is this, it is very much a part of your personality, but how did you nurture this aspect of you to bring that to your work life in a way that I think is really infectious, and part of why I believe you to be like a really in-demand first AD and an in-demand collaborator and partner because of that energy?
Like, that's a big question.
It is.
I mean, the big thing you mentioned is generally just right off the bat, it's my personality. What I will say though, I've actually done a lot of work on myself. And I think too many people in this industry come in and we do a lot of hard things, and this industry is very difficult. And if you haven't done your own personal work to understand, how do I deal with the depression? How do I deal with the hardship? How do I deal with the rejection? How do I deal with the loneliness? How do I deal with those things? Or when something goes wrong, how do you sit there and handle, is this my fault? Do I feel like it's their fault? I'm upset. They're upset. We're not communicating. We're fighting. There's tension. You have to learn how to deal with all of that. That takes interpersonal skills. That takes emotional intelligence. That takes being able to take accountability for yourself. And so much of this is how much of my life and what this industry is in my control. And everything that's outside of my control, I cannot and I do not let myself dwell on it. I can't. It's too much. It's unnecessary stress. For what? If the industry is in turmoil, how much of that is in my control right this moment? Not much. So I have to let it go.
Yeah.
And I practice that daily. Now, when that is in my control, yes, I figure out what to do and I take action. I think one of the biggest things to get anyone out of any kind of funk is to consistently keep it moving. If you're feeling stagnant, do something. And for creatives, that means creating.
Mm-hmm.
The other piece of that is, which I think it's really easy to play the comparison game. And I've been mentioning this so much lately, of people being like, Pam, how do you do so much? Pam, when do you sleep? Pam, how do you la? And it's really easy to look at what I'm doing and say, well, she's doing it. Why can't I do it? And it's not that you can't do it. It's understanding the certain things that are in my life that I'm able to do or not in my life that allows me to do it, and what is in other people's lives. For example, I don't have children. And so I'm not having to also spend time with that big responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a partner. I live by myself.
But she is on the market and she is actively looking. So this is to all the cameras. I don't know who.
For anyone
they're
out
in
there.
one of these 3 cameras for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody's watching and paying attention. I'm just kidding. But you know, I live by myself. I don't have roommates. I don't even have family in LA. So with that being said, I can spend 24 hours doing whatever the fuck I want. However, somebody might hear that and be like, damn, she's lucky. No, because I don't have a partner. I don't have children. I don't have family here. And that takes its toll.
Yeah.
It absolutely has taken a toll. And it's something that I battle with. Woo! It is something I battle with. But with that being said, damn it, I wasn't thinking I was going to get here. With that being said, building the community of people around you and because I don't have a family or anything in that type of like unit base for my village here, the creatives here in LA have to be my village. They become my family. You know, you are part of that village for me. And the folks that I've gotten so close with the LA Directors Lab too, they have very much become my village and my family. And that's a big part of how I'm able to survive and thrive, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we need human connection. I know what to provide myself because I'm very well attuned to what it is that I need. And I think so many of us are like, I'm feeling this thing. I don't know why I'm feeling it. I don't know how to fix it. I just know that I'm feeling it. And that's part of doing the work. You know, and it's not even just like go to therapy. It's like the amount of books that I've read, the amount of dark nights of the soul that I had to go through, the, you know, understanding, you know, even the basics, right? Like understanding what your trauma is and working through that, like understanding all those things. There's nothing you can throw my way now that I haven't thrown at myself. And so I'm on the other side of that. And that's why I present the way that I do, because, you know, I have figured out a lot of things about myself.
Yeah. I think that comes with age, frankly, and experience and wisdom, the gift of getting older. You know, a lot of people will resonate with what you're saying. Most of us are transplants here. Few of us are lucky enough to have family, to have, you know, a familial unit here, whatever that looks like. Most of my best friends I made when I moved out here have all left, you know, like a lot of people that were OGs in my journey are no longer here. And so you're constantly finding new communities of people. And it's part of why, like, I started this show, and it was so important for me because of that loneliness and that feeling of isolation of like, is anyone else dealing with how hard this is or these parts of the struggle? I too didn't have these like Tilda Swinton kind of mentors, you know, where it's just like a noble woman or guy who like has all the answers. For some reason, it's Tilda Swinton in my head. And so I always had to lean on community and people around me who were willing to give me time of day. And eventually I got some of those people to record on a microphone and give others their time of day, you know, and become a conduit for these conversations that to me are so important about like sustainability and mental health. Because I feel like if we don't have pathways to contend with all of that, then the people that I've come up knowing are not going to be here in 10 more years. And who are we leaving this industry for? And two, you know, and that's really important for me to like, again, corral and remind folks that like, it can look like a lot of different ways, but important to take care of yourself, important to take care of your mind. But you know, even if you're in a season of your life where you have so much time to invest into the work, it is important to take breaks and leave Los Angeles and leave this bubble and go live your life. Because as a creative, you need that life to bring and channel back into your work. Otherwise, like you can get stuck in perception of success and all of these like external things that I think can also be quite toxic and feel like busy work, but you can just get swallowed up in that. So I was lucky enough to attend your 2-year anniversary party, and it was really beautiful again to see the community you've built, the amount of folks that feel seen in their journey and are being helped and nurtured in a season where always community is, I think, the most important thing. But I feel like from what I experienced in that room, how you've built it and you have your little Pam devotees. What are they called? Your Pam
community.
No, there was like a cute name that you had for them.
The
like
Pamela?
The Pamela, yes. The Pamela. So I just want to congratulate you as we wrap up and move on to the Martini on just everything you've done so far. And it's beautiful to watch your own journey too. And I hope you don't forget in all the things you're doing to take a moment very often to just zoom out, you know, and think about everything you've built and everything that you still have yet to build. But like, think on that, you know, and reflect that it's really amazing and really inspiring. And I'm so grateful that you're out there doing all the things that you're doing to help us all. So thank you.
I live in a lot of gratitude these days.
Well, gratitude for you, girl. So on that note, we're moving on to the Martini. What's a principle that applies to both film production and CrossFit?
Oh my gosh. If you put in the reps, you're going to get stronger.
Okay. That's a quote. So if you could direct an episode of any show, past or present, what would it be?
The Boys.
FMK, the CrossFit edition. Okay. Burpees, deadlifts, or kettlebell snatch?
I would kill deadlifts because they suck. They're very good for you, though. I would fuck burpees and I would marry kettlebell snatches, even though that's not really a thing.
What's the worst advice you've ever received?
What's the worst advice I ever received? Oh my gosh. The worst advice I ever received was that the director's lab was a bad idea.
What's your favorite way to treat yourself after a long shoot?
Ooh. Getting a nice dinner, going home and putting on my favorite show or a show, comfort show, whatever. And
any comfort shows of the moment that you're really enjoying that you want to bring up in this podcast recording, perhaps?
So there's this one show. I don't think many people have heard of it. You probably haven't.
I don't think so.
It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. And
okay, let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that because we need to be done with this podcast. Okay. Lastly, what absolutely should be always at the crafty table?
Something that should always be at the crafty table that is so underrated and forgotten is electrolytes, because people don't drink water on set. And so having electrolytes is so fucking helpful.
Okay. Well, you heard it here. We need an electrolytes and gummies. We need an electrolyte sponsor. Please come for us. Well, this has been so lovely. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm so happy.
Thank you for doing this.